Hi, everybody. I'm doing a reading on Lindsey O. Graham. He was born July 9th, 1955, till recently, July 11th, 2026. He was an American politician and attorney who served at the U.S. Senate for the South Carolina from 2003 until his passing at the age of 72. He was born in South Carolina. He was the first family to attend college. So he never married or had kids. He was bachelor. All right, I'm going to do a reading on him. Like I said, this is entertainment purposes. So, and I hurt my hand. I'm okay. I just hurt it. You know, when you get older, you get injured. All right, I'm going to do about his life. Did he have a good childhood? Lindsay, did you have a good childhood? Entertainment purposes. In the most part, yes, but emotional balance. He had emotional balance. Maybe he had problems sometimes at home with his family because he wanted to do things his way. He didn't want to do things his father wanted. So he was probably a little rebellion. So he wanted to do things his own way. He'd like to make money, you know, as an early age. Maybe he did ride his bicycle and delivered papers or did something because he wanted to make money. But there was heartbreak. Maybe his father or his mother broke up. I don't know about their marriage. There was an unhappiness in the home. Maybe they fought a lot, or he didn't get along with certain people in his family. Because I don't know this guy at all. I just know that he passed away. He was holding back. Maybe he held back a secret in his life that he doesn't want people to know. He was holding back that about the truth of what he wanted to do in his life. Maybe his family wanted him to do something, like become a doctor or something, and he wanted to do something else. So he didn't want to do. All right. So it seemed like he had an all right childhood. I'm not going to judge people. Was he gay? Because he was a bachelor. They said he was a long life bachelor, which, you know, doesn't bother me. I'm going to do my oracle cards on this because this would be kind of cool. Just oracle. If it can't tell me, I'll do through tarot reading cards. But I'll do what's my vibe cards on that. Was he gay or bisexual? You know, which I could care less, but, you know, I'm just curious because he never married, you know. A lot of people don't marry. You don't find the right person, you know, you decide I'm not going to do that. So, was he gay or bisexual? Let's see if I can be answered through these cards or not. If not, I'll try the regular ones, not the oracle. There was chaos in his life because I think he was very into his career and he didn't have time to have a relationship. And there was disaster. Probably didn't have good relationship with the other sex. So, yeah, or the same sex or whatever. So there was downfall. There was problems in his relationships with other people romantically. So he didn't have good relationships. There was disaster. And he thought he was over his head in some relationship. You see the girl drowning and rock bottom. He felt like he was doing rock bottom. Like he felt like he tried to be the best person in the relationship he could, but I guess he could only do as good as he could, and some people asked too much of him, so he got burnt out and he felt overextended, like, oh God, I'm doing the best I can. But some people were envy of him because he was very smart and became a lawyer, and they feel disconnect. He felt like he was disconnected to some people because they didn't like what he stood for and what he thought. And he was a very competitive person. He could be very competitive. he longed to have someone to be with, a loved one, and maybe he was going to reunite with the person, but it never took place. And he wanted to talk to them about it, and he missed them. You know, he wanted a good relationship with another person, and he thought the person disrespected him and didn't treat him well. The person he was in a relationship, and he had to defend himself all the time. And he was tired to defend himself, so maybe that's the reason why he didn't want to. It didn't say that he was gay or bisexual. So it just said he had trouble in relationships because they treated him poorly. So I'm gonna do tarot reading. Was he bisexual? Or yeah, I'll say bisexual. You know. Or you know. It doesn't say. It says somewhat. Public recognition, victory. He wanted to be victory. He wanted to have people like him. He didn't want people to judge him if he was bisexual or gay. Bisexual or gay. I mean gay. Either, yeah. He was very confident in who he was. So he wasn't like he tried not to be in the closet, but he was a passionate person, and he was a happy person. He cared about people, was happy with people in general, in a personal life, in the professional life. He wanted to be, get along with people, and he was fun to be with. He liked to get along with people, with his friends and his friends and family. He got along with people, and living in the past. He tried to not live in the past, even though sometimes living in the past bites you in the ass. He lived in the past sometimes, He tried to think of what could he have done better in relationships than moving forward. He sometimes was stuck in the past, which isn't always a good thing because then I think he was a warrior, like a warrior, and he worried about what people thought of him. And he tried to forgive people, It was hard at forgiving people, but he tried to forgive people and he left home kind of early in his life because he was the first man in his first person in his family to go to college. So he left home early, and he was a very independent person. Also, lack of directions. Sometimes he had lack of directions. What am I going to do when he went to college? Should I be a lawyer? Should I be a doctor? What should I do? So he wasn't sure what he wanted to do once he was going to college. He wasn't sure, but he found ideas of what he had a spiritual path. Maybe he was a little bit religious, and he had limited beliefs. It's some really religious beliefs, but not much. Even though that sounds kind of hypocritical, because he wanted to form new ideas of maybe he wanted to transfer himself to be more religious. Maybe he wanted to be in later life. He wanted to be. I'm going to ask: did he want to be more religious, or did he not care about that? And I don't care if I'm religious or not. Oh, baby. Yeah. Was he trying to be more religious later in life, Lindsey Graham, or did he, in his life, because he knew, he was only in his 70s, I think, when he passed. So, no kids. So was he becoming more religious? Let's see if he was trying to be. It says he was a passionate person. He wanted to be into religion, but he had some female traits of caring, because I think he was a Cancer, and they're very emotional and caring people. And I think Cancers do have some feminine traits. Nothing's wrong with that, man or female, I don't care. Because he's a Cancer. because he cared, he cared about other people and how they were. I think he had very, I think he was very, caring about other people, about their emotional, and he was kind and sensitive to them. Yeah, he was a very kind and considerate person. Cancers and Pisces are very emotional, and Cancer is very emotional. Sometimes they put their heart in the sleeves and stuff. But there was chaos also. Changes were about to come, before he died. His health, he was having health problems. I'll ask that. Fast-paced changes because his health is getting worse. And there was he was tried to be calm. He tried not to be stressed out in his life, so he tried to be calm. But he did have worry, anxiety. Cancers worry. They have anxiety. They worry about. They're very warriors. Worry warts. Cancers are very worry warts. They worry about a lot of things. And he had anxiety. He probably had depression. Somewhat depression. He might not have spoke it out and tell people that he had it. He had negativity. Maybe he refused to want to go to the doctor, and he was lack of directions. He didn't know what he wanted to do in his life outside of like being a lawyer. He wasn't sure what he was, and he felt defeated toward the end of his life. So he felt kind of defeated in his life. I'm going to ask: did he know that he had a certain time in his life because he had high blood pressure? I think I was just watching Dr. Oz a few minutes of Dr. Oz, and he knew him, and he said he had cardio something or other that made him die. He had high blood pressure. Did he have high blood pressure like they said that caused his death? And you have to watch your calories and all that. Did he have high blood pressure? Lindsey, did he have high blood pressure? Wow. Oh boy. Yes, he had high blood pressure. The ending was coming, transformation. It doesn't always mean death. It depends. But this says he didn't know what roads to take, like getting medicine, maybe going to a trainer, getting his health better. He had to he had to decide to go to a doctor and get his health better. Yeah, he at the end making ways for new laws for your illness. I think he was feeling ill toward the end of his life, even though, like I said, death doesn't always mean death. But in this case, his life was transformation because his health was getting worse, and he probably had chest pains and didn't even know it had problems, and he had heartburn. They said he had heartburn, and that's part of it, side of what he had, which is terrible. So not knowing what you had because he had heartburn and gas stuff, so it probably affected him, and he didn't know what was wrong with him, and he was feeling sick before, and he had different choices like, what should I do? Should I tell people that I'm sick or feeling sick? Should I go to the doctor? He didn't know what kind of options he had. He wasn't sure if I should go to the doctor, if I feel terrible, if I should call 911. He didn't, think of calling 911. He didn't know what kind of option. Should I call 911 and be in the newspapers? This guy, Lindsey, ended up in the hospital because of his health. To me, I don't care. I would have done that. But he was impulsive statement. He was afraid of making a statement, like if he had to go into the hospital. He was afraid of making a statement that people would know that he went into the hospital. He was afraid that people would know him and use it against him. Yeah, he was afraid his illness and people would find out and they would hold it against him if he went to the hospital. And he was naive, like he was childlike, like he was naive that it could kill him. I don't think he knew how bad it was, his illnesses, and him dying and the outcome of it. And he was very free spirit. Sometimes he could be free spirit and childlike. And he was a confident person. He was a confident person, and he tried to be generous to people, and give good advice to other people. Not always good for him, but he gave good advice to other people. Say, oh, do this. As a lawyer, as a congressman, he tried to give good advice, even though he was at a crossroad and he didn't take his own advice. And he felt like he was being betrayed because of his health and the way his life was eating. I think he felt like people were going to gossip and talk about him behind his back, and he wanted to cheating death. He wanted to cheat death, and he wanted to have a social life before he passed on, and he had a social life before he passed on. Let's see what's underneath the card of the next three cards. Last three cards. What did it say? He was like a leader. He was a leader, and he was a successful person before he died, and he wanted people to honor him. And he was a action. He did a lot of skills. He knew a lot of skills, and he had a lot of power in the Congress and being a lawyer. And in the reverse, it says he was bored, though. Toward his end of his life, he was bored. And one more card. He was disappointment because of his health. I think he felt the pain of his health. You know, he was getting ill. He was disappointed in his health, and he didn't know what to do. And he wanted to trust himself. He self-trusted himself instead of going to the doctors. He had lack of faith, but he was bored. I think he was bored at his job before he died, and there was a lot of negativity. He had negativity thoughts, thinking he didn't want to think, that he was going to die and he was sick. He had negativity thought. He knew that something was wrong, and he was focused on negativity because he knew his health was bad. He knew his health was bad. So yeah, he knew his health was bad. But he didn't want it to go to the doctors and get tested and stuff. He wanted to take care of himself. So that's what the reading about him, Lindsey. Lindsey O. Graham. I don't know too much about him because I don't watch a lot of news because it's mostly negative. So I don't know too much of. I just know he was a congressman. He was a Republican. Yeah, he was a Republican. In the House of Representatives. So he was I'm just reading it so he was a Republican in the House of Representatives. So maybe I'll do a reading in the future about him. But I don't know if he was gay or not, which to me doesn't matter. But it says he was. If he was, he didn't want people to know. So into my other readings, take care and bye.